Welcome back, guys, to the Orlando Huskies franchise, and it is week 9, and we are currently on a bye. 0-8 on the season. We're going to check out some stats, the depth chart, some negotiations, some scouting. We're going to do it all. We're going to start with the stats, as we've had two quarterbacks play this season. You know, neither really stood out, but we did think Josh was playing a little bit better. Passer rating was better, was scoring more, he's throwing for more yards, and they've played similar downs, so it's not even like we we thought Josh was the better one. That's all we can really say. Rushing, Drew Stevens 77 carries for 451 yards, 5 touchdowns. Solid season so far. Givens was pretty good on the ground. 9 rushes, 100 yards, a touchdown. Did fumble 3 times though. Danny Barnes, 15 carries for 65, has 1 fumble, no touchdowns. Josh, 4 carries, 44 yards, no touchdowns, 2 fumbles though. And Dante Flowers, thought we'd see him a little bit more. Haven't really seen him at all, but 1 carry for 3 yards. Rushing game as a whole hasn't been an issue. It really hasn't. Receiving, Hunter having another great season. Has to clean up some of the drops though. Had a couple key drops recently, but 38 catches, 635 yards, 3 touchdowns, on his way for another 1,000 yard season to begin his career. And this is what we've been waiting for. Damian Harrison finally exploding as the true tight end one on this team. 22 catches for 434 yards, no touchdowns on this season though. Jason Blacklock at slow start to the season, but due to the injury, coming back strong in the past couple weeks. 17 catches, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kylo and Connor Kelly also have been pretty solid for us as deep threats. Both have Kylo has 1 touchdown, Connor has 2. Kylo nearing 300 yards, and Connor only at 123, but has played well in limited snaps. Jamal Lacey, like to get him the ball a little bit more. 9 catches, 113 yards, and a touchdown on the season. Couple catches for Drew Stevens and Danny Barnes, Mike Haywood. Mike really had his opportunity when Jason was out, just didn't really see a lot after a really good preseason from him. And blocking, Donovan Wheeler, 6 sacks allowed. It's a little high. Wyatt Decker, which is he did get benched, but Randy Norton is out for 3 weeks with a torn labrum. So Wyatt Decker will have to step up, but he played well in that second half against the Chiefs. And Jonathan Jones and Frank Webster have been pretty solid on that right side of the line. And this is the most impressive thing, in my opinion. Daniel Fernandez, 0 sacks allowed in his second season as a pro, and really think we hit big on that one. He's played second most snaps out of everybody on the team. Well, on the offensive line at least, and no sacks allowed. Really impressive stuff from Daniel. Defensively now, Miles McMillan leads the team in tackles. 59, 41 for Johnson, 38 for Shane, 36 for Gage, 31 for Dylan, 30 for Russell Wilcox, 18 for Ralph, 16 for Trey Gordon, 14 for Caden, 12 for CJ, who is finally healthy and coming back from injury after out 3 weeks. Defensive line is going to be glad to have him back. 12 for Justin, 12 for Stanton, 11 for Green, 9 for Javon Young, 6 for Willie, 5 for Rosenberg, 4 for Carrington. Unfortunately, he's going to be out for another 5 weeks. Very unfortunate. Grimes only with 4. McCutcheon with 3. Miles with 2. Jerry Patrick with 2. Austin with 1. The rest of these guys don't have any. Tackles for losses, Ralph Wiggins and CJ Hunter tied for first on the team with 5, and so happy to have CJ back. He was having an amazing season to begin the year. 4 for McMillan, Johnson, and Caden. Caden coming off a 3 tackle for loss performance last week. Russell Wilcox with 3, Willie with 3, Grimes with 3, Shane with 2, Gordon with 2, Carrington with 2, Gage and Dillon both with 1. And sacks are going to have to get better. It's Wiggins, CJ, Willie, Grimes, and Gordon and Carrington all have 1. Half a sack for Wilcox and Johnson. Picks is another thing. Going to have to cause some more turnovers on defense. Only 1 for Johnson, Shane, and Dillon. 2 pass deflections for Wilcox and Gage. 1 for Johnson, 1 for McMillan, 1 for Sane, and 1 for Green. Forced fumbles. We forced a lot of fumbles. 2 for Wilcox, 2 for McMillan, 1 for Johnson, 1 for Shane, 1 for Dillon, and 1 for Caden. The issue is we've only picked up 4. Or Caden with 2 of them. McMillan and Shane both with 1. Just a lackluster start for the defense overall. And that's why we fired our defensive coordinator after last week. And we're hoping the new one can make a difference in this defensive unit. As went into the wrong section. As a defensive unit, we really thought was going to be our strength heading into this season. Didn't really have a lot of question marks. I mean, the biggest question mark was safety, and we have good backup safety. So if the safeties were playing bad, we could have replaced them, but just haven't been playing the best. And hopefully, with this change on defense, they could play a little bit better and a little bit more motivated. As we're gonna check out some of the negotiations, as we have a lot of players we have to talk about. As Jamal Lacey, Josh, Justin Martinez, Rosenberg, Trey Gordon, Jason Blacklock, Donovan Wheeler, Connor Kelly, Keenan Green, Jay Keaton, Randy Norton, Chris Austin, Andrew Willie, Simon Matthews, Claiborne, Foster, Coleman. You guys get it. A ton of players for this week or for this season that we got to re-sign them. We've been negotiating with a couple. We were questionable on Josh, but I think with the performances he's been showing, he deserves another contract. And then we have a couple. Rosenberg probably be re-signed. He's a good special teams player. We have a couple question marks with Trey Gordon. What do we do? What do we do with him? What do we do with Wheeler or Green? You know, like Norton. Some of these guys, Willie. Some of these guys are backups, but they've played a decent role. So, as you've seen, we tried to get Jamal back. He's asking for a decent amount, about 6 a year. But I do think he's a key piece. But he just doesn't know if he is committed to this team. As we've also tried to get Justin back. He's a little expensive too, around 4 a year. Same thing, I believe Winning is holding these guys back from signing. Jason's another one. We don't want to lose him to free agency. We'll give him about 4 a year as well. And Jason Blacklock is back. And that is huge for this offense. Connor Kelly, he's expensive, but he's a good gadget player. Just under 4 a year, and he doesn't know either. The rest of these guys are a lot of question marks. Are we going to pick up CJ's 5th year? As he's been solid so far this season, but we got to see after the injury, and got to see how much Josh wants. As we'd probably give him a 2-year deal. Does sound about good. And he doesn't even know. Buddy Josh, I don't know if you know your career stats, but I don't know if you'd get much better anywhere else. But we're going to look at some scouting. Because I haven't really looked at a ton of guys. As I'm kind of confused as where we should go. As where we should really, like, do we get a really like a stud receiver, or maybe even like a stud defensive tackle, or just kind of an inside guy. Maybe an end that could play three tech for us, help some pressure up front, or do we go with like a true edge rusher on the outside and get rid of someone like Wiggins? It's just I haven't really looked at it because I've been trying to decide where I want to go with in the draft and just haven't really found where I want to go as safety. Is probably a position we won't be looking at this year. Same with running back. Well, let's not rule out running back. Maybe a mid-round running back, but early round running back probably not. But just we're looking for a difference maker in this team, and yet we've yet to draft one. So we are looking to draft one. We'll look at some of the mock drafts, see what they have us. First round, they have us taking a left. First mock draft, they have us taking a left end. Second one, it's a right end. So they do think the pass rush is an issue, and I agree. Pass rush is definitely an issue. As we're 0-8, the worst team in the league once again. And, you know, we've allowed the most points in the league by almost 100 points. We're scoring decently, but the defense has to get better. It's just the defense is definitely something that has to get better. And the offense is going to have to score when needed. As we'll take a look at the rest of our schedule for the rest of this season. As we're going to take on the Texans, Steelers, Broncos, Chiefs, Ravens, Cowboys, Lions, Bengals, Giants. As you saw, that Giants game could be for the number 1 overall pick. And that's a goal of mine, not to have the number 1 overall pick. But we'll take a look at some of those teams, see how they are doing, especially the AFC. Pretty much got to play the whole AFC North. And the Ravens 6-2, Bengals 5-3, Steelers are 3-4, 2-game losing streak. But the next team we're gonna be playing is the Houston Texans, and they're 2-5. So it's definitely a winnable game, but gonna have to really come out and prove it, because this team has been poor. As you see, Hunter Purcell leading the NFL in receiving yards, and you like to see that a lot. As we're excited to see what he could truly become into. Just have to get consistent QB play for him. We'll look at yearly awards, see if we have anybody for yearly awards. Of course, no one for MVP. Offensive Player of the Year. No one Defensive Player of the Year. No one, once again, Rookie of the Year. Do have Tyreek Givens at 4, but doubt he moves up, because unless an injury happens to Joshua, he plays bad. No Rookie of the Year. Best QB, no one. Best running back. Drew Stevens has consistently been in here. Just hasn't been too high. It's kind of middle of the pack. Best receiver. Hunter at 7 is disrespectful, considering he leads the NFL in receiving yards. Best offensive line. I think Daniel Fernandez should be on that list. Best D-line. Not shocked no one's on it. Best linebacker. Surprised McMillan or Johnson's not on that, but they both taken a step back from last year. No best DB. There's no best kickers. Sammy Leak's perfect on the season so far, so we definitely should have a best kicker. But just a short little video going over stats, the players, where the roster's at, and kind of a preview to Week 10. Scouting and everything like that. But I'll see you guys in Week 10 when we take on the Houston Texans, trying to get our first win of the season. Peace.